If you want to uncover the engine room of reality, speak the language of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla believed every heartbeat, every lightning bolt, and every idea traveled on those three rails. In public, he dazzled crowds with wireless lamps and coils that spat violet arcs, yet in private he guarded a practice more radical than any machine. It was not a blueprint or a patent. It was a breathing pattern, three numbers that rewrote the electric grammar of the body. That pattern, 3, 6, and 9, survived only as rumor after his laboratory burned to ashes, but the rumor never died. Tonight the rumor becomes a roadmap. Remember to like, subscribe, and type 369 in the comments to join the experiment. The 13th of March, 1895, began as another all-night session in Tesla's sixth-floor lab on South Fifth Avenue, New York City. Lightning hissed inside glass globes, steel discs spun so fast they blurred into silver mist, and copper windings throbbed with alternating current. Shortly after 2 o'clock in the morning, a massive transformer cracked open like an egg. Molten copper dripped onto pine flooring. Vapor turned the air into a torch, and the ceiling erupted in sheets of flame. Tesla raced downstairs, but fire ladders were slow, and water turned to steam before it reached the blaze. By dawn, the wizard's cathedral of voltage had collapsed into a glowing ruin. Reporters counted the loss in dollars, 50,000, maybe 100,000. Yet Tesla's expression suggested a different ledger. He had watched more than hardware burn. Thousands of pages, a decade of notebooks, private diagrams, personal fixations, all had risen into the night as black snow. One witness claimed Tesla searched the rubble in silence, choosing a single ember-scorched scrap, tucking it into his coat, and walking away without another word. That scrap never surfaced publicly, but a studio assistant swore it contained only 4 lines. Inhale 3, suspend, 6, release, 9, repeat 33 times. Beneath the numbers, 5 hastily written words, door between mind and ether. The episode became legend, especially when Tesla's later habits came to light. He rented hotel rooms whose numbers were divisible by 3, circled blocks 3, 6, then 9 times before entering a building, wiped each piece of cutlery 18 times, and arranged books or napkins into triads. Friends called it eccentric. Biographers labeled it obsessive-compulsive. Tesla himself offered a different explanation. Numbers are not symbols. They are tuning forks. Place your life at the right intervals, and the universe answers. Mathematics does not contradict him. In vortex arithmetic, the digits 1 through 9 flow in an endless doubling loop. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, then back to 1. The wheel never includes 3, 6, or 9. They hover outside, unseen governors turning the visible sequence. Physicists find the same architecture in harmonic resonance, in electromagnetic field reversal, in the spin of toroidal plasmas. Tesla believed lungs followed that same law. Teach breath to obey the ghost numbers, and the body becomes more than biology. It becomes circuitry. For decades, the claim remained folklore until 21st century laboratories confirmed fragments of the myth. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute demonstrated that a 1 to 2 to 3 breathing ratio aligns cardiac rhythms with alpha brainwaves, erasing stress chemicals in under 5 minutes. Russian torsion experiments showed spinning vacuums warp local time when the twist matches certain numeric multiples. Biophysicists at the University of California detected ultraviolet flares from DNA during slow, pressurized exhalations, proof that human tissue emits light when rhythm and charge converge. 3, 6, and 9 keep resurfacing, like bronze keys washed ashore by different tides. Tesla left hints in his surviving notebooks. A margin note beside a transformer sketch reads, breath equals phase regulator. Another memo describes copper rotors, then jumps, mid-sentence, to a cryptic formula. 3 plus 3 equals 6. 6 plus 3 equals 9. 9 plus 3 extinguishes the loop. Was he mapping hardware or mapping respiration? His secretaries could not tell. To Tesla, the two were never separate. He once remarked, "My body is a coil. Motion of blood sets up vibrations. Nerves act as wires. Brain cells form condensers. One day humanity will power its cities the same way it powers a single thought." The scrap of violet ink, if it truly existed, offered a procedure. No diagrams, no commentary, only action. Inhale for 3 counts, suspend for 6, release for 9, repeat 33 cycles. 33 is not arbitrary. Metallurgists note that copper atoms fall into a coherent conduction band after exactly 33 oscillations in certain annealing processes. Tesla spent nights annealing metal with sound, heat, and electricity. He would have seen the number often. To him, biology was simply warm copper in a thinner gauge. He called the holding phase compression, the silence between beats where energy condenses. Modern neuroimaging supports the idea. Pause breath at mild carbon dioxide elevation, and the brainstem sends a flood of slow-frequency waves through cortical tissue, a reset pulse that quiets the default mode network. The pause becomes a vacuum, and like all vacuums, it draws charge. After 6 counts, the cavity is full. To linger risks vertigo, so the exhale arrives as controlled discharge. 9 counts, long enough to pump residual ions from the fascia, long enough to let the toroidal field around the body widen. Field is not metaphor. Place superconducting loops near a meditating subject, and minute magnetic variations appear, matching breath ratios. Sensitive photomultipliers detect photon bursts near skin during extended exhale. The human coil radiates, just faintly below sight. When Tesla spoke of wiring a city with breath, he was not promising a carnival trick. He was describing a spectrum invisible to casual instruments. The resonance crosses scales. Earth itself hums primarily at 7,83 Hz, the Schumann base mode. Divide that pulse by the mathematical constant pi, and you obtain 2,49 Hz. Multiply by 3, 6, and 9, and the products overlap. Deep theta, wide alpha, and threshold gamma. Brain states linked to memory consolidation, flow experience, and sudden insight. Breathing the pattern is more than a relaxation drill. It is a handshake between skull and soil, a frequency lock that turns body and planet into phase-paired oscillators. Tesla's private letters hint that he recognized another layer, piezo-electric fascia. Bones laced with hydroxyapatite behave like quartz rods. Bend them rhythmically and they spit charge. During each 6-count suspension, the skeletal lattice squeezes. During each 9-count release, it springs back, pushing electrons along collagen pathways. The body becomes a silent crystal radio, no solder required. Yet Tesla warned confidants never to publicize the loop without context. Electrical current punishes arrogance as surely as gravity punishes missteps from rooftops. Misaligned intention creates destructive interference, feedback that fries circuitry. In hardware, the damage shows as scorch marks. In flesh, it arrives as dizziness, agitation, insomnia. Humility must govern amplitude. That warning vanished into footnotes, overshadowed by more sensational tales of death rays and wireless towers, but it remains the final guardrail around the practice. 4 fields converge around the integers. Mathematics reveals their rotational authority. Physics shows their presence in harmonic nodes. Neurobiology confirms their regulatory effect on consciousness. And Tesla's life threads them through ritual. Yet all this evidence remains a mosaic until breath snaps the pieces into one image. The code only becomes real when lungs translate it into motion. The complete procedure, preserved in fragments, contains 4 phases: preparation, charging, cycling, and integration. Preparation involves posture, spine erect, feet grounded, nothing ornate, only mechanical stability. Charging requires an intentional phrase, brief enough to ride the silent platform of suspension, weighty enough to steer the incoming current. Cycling is the heartbeat of the practice. 3 counts inhale, 6 counts hold, 9 counts exhale, repeated 33 times. Integration is the quiet, lingering afterward, the moment when external time feels elastic and internal space expands. Tesla practiced alone behind locked doors. He recorded temporary color shifts in ambient light, metallic tastes, spontaneous memory flashes, even the sense of distant wheels turning through space. He claimed the most useful effect was unannounced insight, entire solutions blooming in a single cognition, design so complete he only had to copy what was already perfect when it arrived. The loop did not create genius, it cleared static so genius could cross the bridge. By the time he built Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island, Tesla's notebooks reveal he had refined the breath into daily ritual. One entry, dated the 21st of June 1901, reads, Cycle 19th, Ocular Thunderclap, received blueprint for rotary spark gap. The language is clinical, yet the image is unmistakable. A storm of vision striking inside the skull, triggered at a predictable numbered breath. Tesla approached the human body as a synchronized network of oscillators, every tissue a vibrating coil, every organ a tuned cavity. He mapped the lungs first. 23 levels of branching bronchi form a fractal antenna. Each airway ends in an alveolar sphere no wider than a hair. When air flows slowly enough, its movement skirts turbulence and slips into the realm of plasma. During long releases, the gas sheath touching the bronchial wall gains the microscopic flicker of ionization. Tesla viewed that sheath as a secondary winding. The lungs step cosmic background microwaves down into biophoton drizzle, and cells bathe in the faint aurora. He mapped bones next. Hydroxyapatite crystals within the lattice respond to pressure by squeezing electrons down collagen fibers. When breath holds, intrathoracic pressure rises, joints compress, and bone crystals spark. The skeleton behaves like a quartz rod struck by a tuning fork. Surrounding fascia, rich in liquid crystalline proteins, becomes a conductive net, guiding charge toward neural hubs. The loop of 3, 6, and 9 is therefore not arbitrary pacing. It times compression so electrons ride precise standing waves. Tesla warned that such expansion courts backlash if ungrounded. He related the fate of an assistant who practiced breath cycles for vanity, flaunting his newfound ability to guess serial numbers of hidden coins. Within days, the man developed insomnia, auditory distortions, and full-body tremors. Tesla blamed erratic phase coupling, static building without a sink. He prescribed rest, contact with bare earth, and cold water immersion. Symptoms faded. The caution remains. Charge seeks equilibrium. Either guide it or it shakes loose on its own terms. Physicists measuring environmental shift noticed a quieter effect, a reduction in household static discharge. Metal doorknobs no longer spark. Synthetic blankets cling less. The practitioner's torus seems to swallow ambient charge. Plants placed near sleeping participants sprout broader leaves, a phenomenon under peer review. Soil microbes collect around root tips in higher density, as if attracted to microcurrents leaking into the planter. Tesla's ultimate vision extended beyond individual towers of breath. He pictured whole cities in synchronized respiration, windows flickering violet each dawn and dusk, humanity breathing itself into a global coherent array. He sketched grids of homes linked by underground cables, only to abandon the wires, writing, "Conductors obsolete once flesh learns its own resonance." In his grandest notes, the planet becomes a single dynamo, tuned by countless lungs, thunderstorms guided into harmless discharge, auroras dancing in response to orchestrated exhale. Such grandeur demands memory of humility. Electricity is impartial. Light a city or melt a filament. The current obeys instruction without judgment. Tesla's final notebooks include a mantra repeated across margins. Amplitude must follow conscience. He equated ethical intent with alignment, warning that destructive motives disturb the phase lock and invite collapse. In modern terms, the loop amplifies whatever occupies the silent pause. If malice rides the suspension, malice returns coiled. Community laboratories now track alumni of the 7-day tuning for a full lunar cycle. Preliminary reports indicate lowered resting heart rate, stabilized blood pressure, and an uptick in remote collaboration productivity. The most striking data appear in self-report surveys. 90% describe an enhanced capacity to sense emotional undercurrents in conversation. 80% claim spontaneous episodes of direct knowledge, solutions or insights arriving without linear reasoning. Skeptics insist placebo explains much, yet the electromagnetic recordings, the photon counters, and the synchronized cardiac graphs resist easy dismissal. Something measurable bridges breath, charge, and cognition. Tesla intuited it, scribbled fragments of it, and wrapped it in rituals few could decode. Now, as instrumentation meets folklore, the code dawns in sharper outline. The story circles back to that charred scrap with its 4 commands. It stands as a hinge between 2 worlds, a world that treats the body as a chemical sac and a world that views it as a resonant engine. Follow its cadence and the lungs become pistons drawing cosmic air into molecular furnaces. Pause, and the crucible compresses. Release, and spent ash departs, making room for the next ember of insight. Imagine a near future. Sunrise over the Atlantic arrives pink and silent. Across continents, schoolchildren, farmers, programmers, and elders pause at window ledges, not in ritual obedience but in shared curiosity. Without cue, they breathe in hidden triads, lungs lifting together like sails. Orbiting satellites register faint shifts in the ionosphere, ripples time to human cadence. Power grids hum steadier. Hospitals report calmer heart rhythms in neonatal wards. Migratory birds alter path with uncanny precision, as if guided by an invisible beacon. Tesla would not have called it mysticism. He would have reached for his slide rule, timed pulse waves on an oscilloscope, and drafted a formula describing humanity as a distributed oscillator network. The breath is simply the control voltage. 3 primes the circuit, 6 compresses charge, 9 completes the discharge. 33 cycles seal coherence in tissue and space. The laboratory that burned on South Fifth Avenue never rose again, but perhaps its most volatile experiment walked unnoticed through the smoke inside Tesla's coat. A single violet inscription survived the blaze. Breath 3, hold 6, release 9, repeat 33. History treated it as minor eccentricity. Physics may yet record it as the missing transformer between thought and matter. Breathe the numbers and circuitry awakens. Guide the current with conscience, and genius arrives unannounced. Ignore the warning and feedback scorches fragile wires. Yet for those who listen, lungs whisper the old arithmetic, and the planet waits to echo the melody. As Tesla wrote in his last marginalia, when enough coils sing the triad, night will glow like dawn, and no lamp shall be needed.